Hello, everyone. This is Alan from MysteryMTG.com and Mystery Cards and Games in Plano, Texas. I think this is going to be one of the most important videos we've ever made. There's not going to be a script. We're just going to be going through the Reddit post we made. The conversation has been extremely insightful and engaging, and I wanted everyone else who isn't on Reddit or hasn't seen this to kind of jump in and talk about this with us. So this is our take on what you should be doing to open a new LGS in 2022 or 2023. And like I said, it will probably be relevant for the next 3 to 5 years, depending on what happens and what changes and the popularity of the games involved. So the beginning of this, just as a little bit of context, right? We've been running a store for nearly 7 years, 3 years as a front-facing shop, which is MysteryMTG.com, and the first brick and mortar, which is Mystery Cards and Games. A little bit of personal information there. First step, we're going to kind of get into this. This is pretty important. Know what you're getting into. So I took into the space and I had no one who helped me. Okay, it was 2,000 square feet. I was able to get a couple of my high school friends to come in and help me install some of the Uline stuff that we were looking at. Some of the and by the way, take a pause and read some of this if you want to, or go on Reddit and find the thread. I'm not going to be able to read the entire thing word for word. I'm just going to give you a little bit of a synopsis and my input on some of the comments. That's where I think it's going to be pretty interesting. But yeah, I got some high school friends and we built it out, built the Uline furniture and slat wall. We found some class displays online, and it was extremely expensive, right? The displays are super expensive, slat wall's expensive. And like I say here, you have to set aside $30,000 for opening day inventory. That might be an understatement. That might actually be an understatement. And $20,000 for furniture, also very conservative. You might need way more. Tables are expensive. It depends on how much space you have too, right? If you're working with 2,000 square feet versus 4,000 square feet, you will quite literally have to double the amount of money you're spending on furniture as well. Double the slat wall, double the tables, double the decor, double the amount of chairs, etc., etc. So keep that in mind with how big you're making the space. I can fit 60 people in my 2,000 square feet store. Depends on how you design it, okay? And like I said at the beginning here, sit down very carefully and think very carefully about the design you want to aim for. Do you want it to be a traditional brick and mortar that focuses on product? And, there's a couple of tables, but a lot of it is going to be slat wall and a lot of it's going to be inventory. Or do you want the play space to be the thing that shines? Do you want to have a ton of tables with a ton of seating, and then one wall that just has a bunch of slat wall with product and a little, bar / glass display with singles and product? There's a lot of different ways you can do it. Now, depending on the way you do it, this will also change the amount of money needing to be set aside for that furniture, for that inventory. A lot of stores in my area, even some of the WPN premiums, don't have that much inventory. They don't have that many sealed boxes or singles. They really prioritize having a lot of variety, whereas our store is almost exclusively Magic the Gathering. So there's a big difference there. So the second very important thing is hiring the right people. I don't even think I have to get into this. This is very intuitive. Are they social? Can they hold a conversation? Do they have no criminal record? There's a comment below, and I'll try to find that comment for you guys about this. Why won't you hire someone who has a record? There are game companies that will not allow you. Keep that in mind. They will not allow you to have an employee who has a record. You have a lot of kids that will come in the store. If they have any charges related to anything involving kids or I'll pretty much just don't have a record. Okay. And if you do have a record, it doesn't make you a worse person. It just means working at a game store is probably not the right thing. There are game companies that really care about this. Are they respectful? You need to have employees who are engaging and they don't talk down to people. This is a huge issue in game stores. People talking down to new people that come into the store. You need employees who are willing to talk to customers, be informative. Don't be like the older brother. I'm telling you this, you need to do it this way. No, this is how we do it. If you want to do it a different way, you can. There's this conversation I've had to have a million times with people. Customers pay you, okay? You need to treat them well. Don't think just because you sell what they want that you can act and behave in any which way. Unless you are their only LGS, you should treat them nicely. And even then, they might buy from Amazon instead. So it's not like it was 10 years ago. You have to have a really good experience. Some people get angry about that, but customers are king here, and you need to treat them well, give them a great social experience, pay what you can. Okay, the more you pay, the better quality the person will be, but don't overpay or overhire. Okay, you will get into a sticky situation if you can't afford the payroll, which everyone will come into contact with, especially in this economy. So, a third is the experience. This is the most important part. A lot of our customers that keep ordering or come back to us talk about the experience. So I talk about the singles market and kind of my thought on the singles market and what's happening with mass openers and with Amazon and how we attempt to always price below Amazon or at Amazon. So there's no incentive for you to go to Amazon. If you treat people right, you teach them the game, you're the first place they learn how to play the game. We've taught dozens, more than dozens. I can't even put a number to it. How many people have been taught Magic at our store? It is awesome. We hand out welcome packs. We have pauper decks we can rent out. You just get an ID and you swap it. That is super important. Okay. Getting new players into the game will just, if they stay in the game, they will be your long term customer. They will be there for you. You were loyal to them in the beginning. They're going to be loyal to you. They will buy their products from you. They'll play games at your events. Very important to get new players into the game. And that cannot be overstated enough. Now, this is pretty important. If you're going to be starting a store and you're stocking inventory and you want a lot of the newer stuff, but you're also going to want some of the older stuff, avoid reserve list or higher end sealed, as those will sit in your retail store and move much slower than other products. This is very controversial. We have a lot of older product, of course. Okay. We do that and we take a loss on that because a lot of that product does not move. A lot of those boxes sit in the same spot and they're priced extremely well. They're just not going to move. You can sell them online very easily, but if you're just looking to sell them in person, it will be a wrap of capital and it can really hurt you in the long term, especially when you need funds for newer sets that are coming out and the popularity for some of the commander decks that are released. With Brothers War, a lot of people want those commander decks. So you have to make sure you have them, and the profit margin on that is fairly good. So having all that money wrapped up in older product that's not moving might be a pretty big issue for you. So this paragraph, and this is going to be a review of the post, so bear with me, but we've pulled Flesh and Blood. We're probably going to be pulling Yu-Gi-Oh! We are pulling Bandai. You have to consolidate. Okay, Magic the Gathering is the only stuff that I play. It's the stuff that my employees play. That is what we focus on. We're trying to be the best at selling Magic. We do not play that much Yu-Gi-Oh! If you love Yu-Gi-Oh!, you should try to make the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Focused store in your area. Don't attempt to make a bunch of money off of a TCG that you don't know very well. I'll get into this into the comments, but I love MTG. That's why I can sell the product and people, know that we're not bullshitting. MTG is a pretty important part of my life, and therefore I can have conversations with customers about it, and we come off as knowledgeable, and we have a judge, and we make sure that we're not talking out of our ass. A lot of stores will carry everything, but very few offer specialized experiences for certain TCGs. Please keep that in mind. If you love Yu-Gi-Oh!, make a store focused around Yu-Gi-Oh! And you will have the majority of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Players in your area, because every other store just has a little bit of a touch of Yu-Gi-Oh! So here we get into the numbers. I don't think this is very important, but this is the sealed and singles numbers. $160,000 in 2022, $400,000 in 2021, and then $637,000 in 2022, which is not finished yet. So we still have some time to go. Does not include drinks or accessories. This is kind of just showing that the market, even though it did kind of peak in 2021, has not really slowed down. There are still a lot of new players. Stores like mine will keep getting new players into the game. Those people are buying product. They're buying singles. The game is growing in popularity. So even though the market is falling, singles are still selling. Sealed is still selling. It's just not, the higher end stuff is not going to be selling as well. So that just means you need to pivot. Okay, don't put all your money in super expensive product that isn't going to be moving. It is kind of cool to have dual lands, but if no one is buying it, you're wasting money and you're wasting space. So profit margins aren't terrible, but they aren't great. I make the point here that I don't take home any money, and that you shouldn't expect to take home any money either. We do 7 figures in revenue, 6 figures in profit in quotations, and that's because everything is reinvested in product. And it gets really difficult because people are like, oh, you must be making money. Not really when there's a set that comes out every 2 weeks and we have to dump all of that money into the newer set. And then a new thing comes out, we dump money into that set, and it's just nonstop. So money is rotating in, it's also rotating out consistently. So can I pay myself? No. If I did, the company would have likely died last year. So it's very important that you understand you need to make sacrifices. If you have a kid, if you have a wife, it's probably not going to work out for you. Okay. Um, let's see. Can you guys see all this? I think you can. Is it worth it? Of course. Our customers have become my best friends. The community has been absolutely amazing. We're doing a midnight release soon, and I would have it no other way that I'm spending my time and my effort on these customers. They're more than customers. These are the guys I play with, I have fun with. We crack packs together. It's the best thing ever. It's the most fun you can ever have. It's been worth it. Everything has been worth it. All the work and the lack of money, and I'll get into it below, but you will have to give up quite a few things for this. That's something you'll have to accept. This is a little bit about pricing. I'd kind of stop the video and read that if I were you. It's kind of important. And then here are some of the comments. We'll just touch on a few. The Reddit post is public if you guys want to go read it. The pro tip is don't. Unless you already have good finances and don't care that you'll be working long hours. Also, if you get no community, you basically become a glorified TCG player storefront. Amazon/Wizards is doing everything they can to ruin LGS anyway, so you can't rely on MTG, which means more research into Yu-Gi-Oh! And whatever else is going on by you. Now, I disagree with the second part. I think MTG can still be the foundation of the store. It's a very strong game. We don't really sell much Yu-Gi-Oh! In other games, which might just be a negative thing for us, but we just don't play much of it, so I don't want to focus on it. And I responded with correct. With no community, you'll eventually become nothing but a reseller online. I do think MTG is still viable to be focused on by game stores, but yes, most of them around us have removed it or no longer focus on it. It's a shame. I love MTG too much to ever let it go, and without it, I probably no longer want to run a game store. This quote right here is extremely important. Really read that. I love Magic the Gathering. Okay. I said that in a weird way. I love Magic the Gathering. And without it, I wouldn't want to run a game store. If you can say this, you will probably be successful. Because my failure will come from the failure of the game. If MTG fails, I fail. I'm not going to transition into a different game. I'm not going to attempt to pivot because the profit doesn't matter. I don't take a single dollar home. When the business is no longer fun for me and it's no longer a passion project, we move on. And if you can't say that it is about money for you, I don't know why you would make this a career, because you could have made as much money doing so many other things that are way easier. So I don't know. A lot of interesting takes here. A lot of LGSs are branching out to become coffee shacks, mall snack vendors. And this is really important. Most MTG places seemed fairly unwelcoming. This has been the case for a lot of people. It's also been the case for me when I would go into stores and people just didn't want to service me. I couldn't get into a group. It was awkward. It was weird. It felt like I wasn't welcome. This is true for a lot of people. We've had construction workers walk into mystery cards and games, and we treat them like we treat everyone else, even though, their hands have paint on it and they're like, I don't even play this game. We're like, sit down, we'll teach you how to play. Because we did that, those same construction workers came in and bought booster boxes of Strixhaven, and they were some of the coolest guys ever. Haven't seen them in a bit, but they would come back in here and then again because they were doing work near our store. We're right by a service road. And it was really, really awesome to see it and to know that we were getting people who had never touched this game. And they even told me they downloaded MTG Arena because of it. But they also told me that every other game store they've been in, because they are Hispanic and they come in right after doing work, it's a sight to behold, right? These guys are coming in covered in paint and they're like, hey, I want to check your store out. A lot of stores are like, no, thank you. Get out of my store. They're like, we don't want to service you. And I'm Middle Eastern, and I I get that a lot. A lot of people don't want to service me because they don't see me as a high value customer. Guys, your store is a getaway for people. It's where they go after work. It's where they go when they want to de-stress. Everyone from every walk of life can come in. Doesn't matter where they're from, what their creed is, who they are. They come in. You treat them like you'll treat everyone else. Someone who spends $10,000 at your store, someone who spends $10 at your store. Both of those people need to be treated extremely well. This is extremely important. I almost wish I'd remake this video and make that the first line of the video. I hope you've come this far in the video to hear this. That is so important. Can't even emphasize that enough. Don't talk down to people. They might be bad at the game. No one's bad at the game. They just don't know the game enough. So teach them. Hire employees that are willing to sit down and talk to anyone and have a great conversation and be happy while they're doing it. If they can't do that, they shouldn't be working at a game store. If you feel tired and you're like, I don't want to deal with people, don't work at a game store. A game store is a social experience. We're not just selling you board games. You could go buy board games at Amazon. If you're going to buy it from my store, you're buying it because there's an experience to be had at Mystery Cards and Games. You come in, you're my customer, we're going to take care of you. That's what it is. A lot of people prefer kitchen table over an LGS because of this. It isn't even just about it being quieter and less interruptions. I think it's really the unwelcoming attitude that a lot of stores have. Let's see, what else do we have? We'll kind of close this tab right here. Everything I hear about running a store makes it sound like a job to start after winning the lottery, not to try to make it big. You'll never make it big from running a store. Even some of the biggest businesses you know of, the people who are the CEOs and owners that I know, don't make that much money. Okay. Plumbers make more money. So keep that in mind. This is a passion project. You know, I'll even read my comments of this. One of the largest LGS owners in the US told me starting an LGS isn't the easiest way to get rich, but boy, is it a wild ride. Very true. Take that quote to heart. You won't get rich. And if you do, the road to get there will have been crazy. You can't just wake up one day and make it. It's a brutal project to start if you aren't financially comfortable. And even if you are, you'll quickly start needing more money. Oh, God, can you say that again? How much money are you dumping into the newer sets? How much money are you dumping into other TCGs? You're trying to improve your chairs. You're trying to become a WP and premium store. You're trying to become a Konami OTS. You're trying to stock things that people want. They're asking you for this. They're asking you for that. You can't get it all. You have to sometimes just be honest. Looking at the different LGSs over the years, it seems typical that you should expect at least 50% of your product to never sell. Most of it will just be for wall decorations. Very true. Very, very true. Okay. A lot of these comments are pretty interesting. How are you supporting yourself? Food, rent, healthcare if you aren't drawing from profits. Live with my family, eat home food, don't drive a nice car, don't really buy new clothes. Not the ideal life for most, but I do get to crack packs for fun. That is a huge plus. Anyone who knows me, any of the customers know that I just love opening packs. What can I say? I don't play the lotto, don't gamble, don't do anything else. Don't buy nice cars. I do collect watches, and that's because they're kind of like magic cards, right? You can buy and resell them, and you can wear them, and it's pretty cool in that sense. But you kind of make it, that's an asset. It's not really a luxury unless you're actually wearing it and scratching it. But yeah, I don't really live a luxurious life, and that's how it works. I hate to break the bubble. I'm not going to say that I'm dirt poor or anything, but I'm not a multi-millionaire. You know what's crazy though? I guess I am a millionaire in the sense that asset wise, if you were to consider all the product I have, all the singles I have, it is over 7 figures. But cash wise, definitely not a millionaire. And that's just what it is. It'll never happen. Now, will I keep reinvesting the money we make from business into product? Yes. And I guess technically it's kind of like Elon Musk not taking money home, right? He's technically the world's richest man, but he's actually pretty cash broke. And that's just the truth of it. You will be cash broke. The judge stuff is true. We have a judge, Kevin, who is an employee. That's pretty important. Having judges staff really works, right? And you don't have to pay them. You're already paying them to be there. So that's pretty cool. Having out of print even more expensive, which is going to be a huge boon for an LGS, but you definitely have to plan it out. This is kind of true. People still buy those packs, but you're not making a ton of money on it, unfortunately. Stores are typically buying these boxes at a premium because they have to buy them on the broader market just like you do. And therefore, you're probably better off just buying it. For us, it's a little different because we had so much in stock and so much in inventory that it made sense and we could have it out. We would make money even charging market prices. But a lot of places do not have older sealed sitting around. And if you're a newer store, you're not going to have that. And I don't think you should be putting a ton of money into reserve list or sealed product because I don't think the returns are great, especially in this market. It doesn't go up like it used to. A lot of the times now, older product is starting to go down. So what would make more money in a typical year? $120,000 in LGS, $120,000 in the S&P 500. Definitely the S&P 500, right? Surprised you didn't mention Pokemon once. This is kind of interesting. Pokemon does sell pretty well, but it doesn't sell very well for us. And we don't play Pokemon, so I don't know if we could become good advocates because I know very little of Pokemon besides Charizard and Mewtwo and stuff like that, and Pokemon, or not Pokemon, sorry, Pikachu. So besides that, I don't know very much about it. Bringing home six figures in profit, but reinvesting 100% doesn't seem financially great. But I'm also on a keyboard sitting in class and you were the one who was open the store. I'm curious if you had any financial background prior to starting off, which I did. I worked in finance. I worked at, I don't know if I should dox myself, but I worked at a financial firm in downtown Dallas. When do you plan on pulling a paycheck? Hasn't happened. Not really sure when that will happen. That'd be interesting. I hope it happens someday. I really would like to start paying myself, to be honest. What does your capital structure look like? I don't know if I should get into that. And do you do cons or shows? We do not do cons or shows. My response was, yeah, it's a bit of an unorthodox take, but so far it's led to much stronger growth. If I did pay myself, the business would have likely died last year, which is just true. So TLDR, I guess we can go kind of scroll through this if you want to stop and look. I'll respond to a lot of this later. This was kind of interesting. We already had our sales tax, franchise tax, official documentation. I'd love to read a post about a store opening without those people having, oh my God, I just totally read this wrong. Opening a store without the person already having some of that work done. In Texas, you can get really far if not have opened your store already with just the EIN, which is just filing with the IRS. So, and the second part is pretty important. You can be damn sure people will come knocking once revenue starts coming in and you don't have everything done. That's pretty important. Yeah. You don't want to have the IRS come knocking. You do right by them. You pay them their taxes. And you do what you can with what they give you. And that's it. Don't go to war with the IRS. You're going to lose. You're going to lose. You can get this far with just the EIN, but you should not do that. Okay. Texas is one of the more accessible places to start your business. Is very, very true. And this is kind of interesting. A lot of you guys don't know this. Where are you getting your singles to sell? I love pack opening. A lot of customers do too. We buy them back at 70% of TCG low for cash, 80% for credit. Margins are small, but we get staples in abundance and they sell very quickly. It's very fair for almost every party. A lot of stores try to pay 30% of TCG. And if you do that, only the people who are desperate for cash are going to sell their inventory to you. You will not have a good amount of inventory. So keep that in mind. Yeah, I think this was really interesting. A lot more comments below that I would love to answer, and I'll try to answer it earlier, later. But there it is. And if you guys have questions, leave them below. I know I didn't get into everything, and I would love to get, maybe let's make this a series. We'll do this as part one. Okay, part one of the if you want to start your own LGS in 2022/2023 series. In the second video, I will try to get more into depth with the first point here, because this is an entire video within itself. And then I'll make another video and get into the other ones. Hiring has been the hardest thing, so this will probably be the shortest video because we don't have this figured out. So yeah, Alan from mysterymtg.com. I hope mysterymtg.com. I hope you enjoyed. There was no script here, so I probably stumbled quite a bit. But this is a pretty important video. I hope you guys learned something, and I hope it at least has reinvigorated you into thinking about this, or if you were going to do it, maybe questioning yourself, and if you weren't going to do it, maybe you're questioning yourself and saying, maybe I can do this. So let me know. My DMs are open and the comments are open. I'd love to talk to you guys, and I'd love to know what you think about this.